they're like, who the fuck is he talking to? This guy's crazy. Hey, Alice, good timing. I'm here with Elle and Storm from Mercy Hanson. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I've seen y'all play at East Room, and it's really interesting stuff y'all are doing. So
Thank you.
I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
Me too.
So y'all have a show coming up August 3rd. Where's that one at?
It's at the Cobra.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
You know who else is on that one?
Some of my friends actually, a band called Scarlet Magnum.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. The drummer is my roommate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know y'all knew them. That's funny.
Yeah.
He'll be
That is
home in
funny.
a bit. I'll stop him.
And then the Lifeline, which is Nick Amling and Andy Baker, and they have a different bass player every time. So I don't know who's gonna play bass for them. And then Outpost is the other band that's playing. I know I've met them before, but I don't really know any of them personally.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's awesome. And then I think y'all said you have another show later on.
Well, you know, we have one that's probably going to be coming out.
Oh,
or
right.
Coming up before this comes out.
Right. My bad.
No,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
But also,
We have other shows
in the works.
Okay,
that
cool.
don't have a date yet.
Well, just keep an eye out for further Mercy Hanson stuff.
There
later
will
on.
be a really cool one probably in September or October
Right on.
at the basement.
What's
but there's no date yet.
out of the places y'all have played so far, what's your favorite?
Dude, it varies because sometimes I like really divey stuff and sometimes I don't. It's just day to day to me. Like sometimes I can really get into like a hardcore kind of set at like Betty's Grill. But then also sometimes I'm like, I don't know, it would be cool to have some monitors around me to really
I have an answer.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, two answers, I guess. For a long time, my favorite place was the East Room. Just mostly because the stage is raised up, I feel like probably. But just recently we played the basement, the OG basement, and that show just in every way was amazing.
Nice.
Oh, and then also the farm.
Oh, well,
I feel like that has to be on the list of favorite places.
there's like a commune outside of Somerton.
Oh yeah.
And they throw like a summer festival every year.
Whoa, and y'all played that? That's
yes,
sick.
we played it the past 2 summers.
Summertown is awesome.
Called Ragweed, the festival.
That's sick. I didn't even know about that. That's so cool.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I've been out there before though. It's awesome.
Yeah.
They have music until like 5 a.m.
Jeez.
Oh, I don't even know.
It starts at like 7 p.m. Because the first year we played, we went on at 2:15.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
they put us after the DJ for some reason.
Where does the name Mercy Hanson come from?
It was so we're only 2/5 of Mercy Hanson. There's Marshall who plays bass, Bobby keys, and Liam drums, but they all also sing. I play guitar. Elle plays guitar sometimes too. Main singer. I just provide backup vocals. And Bobby was actually the one who misread a woman's name in like an old magazine, and he thought it sounded funny, and then he just said it out loud to us. And we were like, "Yeah, I think that's."
Because we were sitting. It was after band practice one day, and Liam and Marshall had left already, and we were sitting there trying to come up with band name ideas, and he was just sitting there reading this magazine, and we looked at each other and we're like, oh, that could be a cool name.
It's a good name.
Thank you.
It's a good
Thank
name.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of music was in the household growing up? Like what'd your parents listen to?
Ooh, my a lot of my early music taste was from my dad. He would always have Jack FM playing in the car. He introduced me to jazz, which I was probably, I was really young, maybe 10. And I remember I used to do ballet, and he was driving me home from ballet class this one day, and he turned it onto a jazz radio station. And I was like, what is this? I had hated it at the time. And he had this whole conversation with me. It must have been like a 30-minute conversation. And it'll always stick in my head how he said that you can appreciate music even if you don't necessarily enjoy it. So I started listening to it, listening to jazz, trying to appreciate it, and then slowly started to actually like it. And now I love jazz.
That's awesome.
And then he also showed me a bunch of classical stuff. There's one, I can never remember the name of it. It's like something New World. I can't remember what it is, but
Classical?
Yeah. And then also Vivaldi. But yeah, I grew up around tons of music. My mom was pursuing being a singer-songwriter before I was born, and my dad is a drummer. So I was around music all the time. I'm curious what your answer is though, because I don't know that I've heard what you like growing up.
Growing up in the house, I mean, my mom was when I was younger, definitely a Christian rock radio.
Well, yeah, I had a lot of that too.
Which, to be honest, I wasn't very fond of back then. And,
what?
Yeah, but and then when my stepfather came into the picture, I was pretty young, and you know, I definitely credit him with a lot of my taste. He was a cooler dude, and still is. But I don't know, I'm trying to think of like some records that were or albums that were played that really like. This is probably going to be a weird one, but Spoon was one that was played a lot in my house, and I love that band. But then like it was pretty classic stuff. Like I mean, we had like Blood on the Tracks, Dylan, and then I think there was what's the Stones record? It's not Give Me Shelter. Let It Bleed. Like that was a big one in my house. And then like My Morning Jacket, Wilco.
Oh, yeah.
But this is kind of all coming like I don't know, it all hit around like 13, 14 years old is when they started like exposing me to these records. Like or maybe it was honestly probably the first time I tuned in, really.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, because I was around 14 years old when I started like actually, I guess, hearing it for myself and not just, oh, this is what my dad's playing in the car.
Yeah. It's like in the background.
Yeah.
Active listening.
And then it started to be like, oh, I'm actually seeking this out now.
Yeah.
And then big one too was which is a weird one, I think, but Jason, I think it's Jason Molina, Magnolia
Sounds familiar.
Electric Company.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, dude, that's great music. I fucking love that.
It's a great record. That song's Ohio, whoever that is.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I love
That's a great
album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I was like, I don't know, I feel lucky that when I was like 14, he was like, check this out.
Yeah. I didn't hear
15,
that
16,
album
whatever.
until I guess I was 16 or 17. One of my exes showed it to me.
That's a great album.
He had a great music taste. Like you're probably not gonna see this, but if you happen to see this,
Oh, you're talking
that dark indie folk stuff is like really huge for me. Yeah.
Wait, so hold up, do you like Neutral Milk Hotel?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
He also showed me that band.
My favorite band, hands down, is Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. You know them?
I don't think I've heard of them.
It's like very in that vein.
Kind of like Olivia Tremor Control.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good band too.
Yeah.
This is all in my like 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember seeing a skate edit in high school to Neutral Milk Hotel, The King of Carrot Flowers. Like the build up at the parts 2 and 3 or something, to like when they're yelling,
Yeah.
I love you, Jesus Christ. And it was like, I'm not sure if like how to find it again, but it was a great skate edit. And I don't even skate, but
Tuesday Moon. That I love that song.
Is that
That's
Neutral
Neutral
Milk Hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very cool. That's a very for both of you. That's very well-rounded. Maybe not well-rounded, but it's like
I mean, what I
introduction,
shared was
right?
really only like when I was little, like before I started listening to music for myself.
well, I don't want to I don't want to answer for the guys that aren't here, but they really shape the sound. I mean, we all, we
Yeah.
co-write all that shit, and like I'm trying to I don't know. I don't want to put words in their mouth because I want them to be able to say that they're own artists, but I feel like Marshall brings a lot of like Neil Young vibe to the act. Bobby always is listening to spacing his name, Jeff. That drowned in the river. What is his name?
The guy who drowned in the what?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Jeff Buckley.
Oh, what? He drowned in a river?
Yeah, long time ago.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I thought. Wait, is
and
he
then-
in? Is he in the 27 Club?
I'm not sure.
I think he might be. I don't know. Anyway.
And then Liam is, a monster drummer. He's always been very into like Pond and Gottman, kind of some of the offshoots of that like original Kevin Parker lineup. But that's all.
It's a lot of diverse backgrounds coming to that
Yeah.
melting pot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm going back on everything I'm saying. Also, huge Tom Petty with Marshall, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
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 But
I mean, I like Tom Petty too.
Cool. So okay, that's awesome. Y'all all write together too. Like, I mean, it works when like I listen to like a lot of math rock, like that kind of stuff, and usually that's like largely like one person's vision, because
Yeah.
it's just still so many moving pieces and stuff. But I really appreciate when it's like, because I feel like you can kind of tell, like when it's like everyone's at least like engaged and interested in what they're doing in the band.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I don't think like the bands that are guilty of this, I don't think they realize it. But like you definitely know when you're watching a band that's like not having a good time. You know what I mean?
That's like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like everyone can tell.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, y'all had like a big fight right before this or something. Yeah. What have you been listening to in like the last week?
Ooh, the last week. Let me pull up my Spotify. See my liked songs.
I was listening to Freddie Gibbs last night, but
Hell yeah.
Last week.
Um,
Oh, Kylie Connell's record. I've been blasting that shit. She is local.
Okay.
And she just came out with a record like July 19th. And that's been on repeat for me. It's real cool.
Right on.
Dark folk.
Okay.
Fucking that's your record, man.
I'll let me write that down real quick.
Yeah.
Well, my most recent liked song is August by Flip Turn. Which is definitely not my normal vibe, but I like that song. Let's see. Let's go to my
Real quick,
summer
what's the name?
2024.
I'm sorry. I
Sorry.
didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're good.
You're good.
What was the name of that artist? I'm sorry.
It's Kylie Connell. The spelling is, I think it's K-I-E. I'll show that to you real quick.
Okay.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, cool.
I'm sorry. You were
No,
saying?
you're fine. I was going to my summer 2024 playlist to see what's on here. Eagles, Peaceful Easy Feeling. I like that song. Sister Golden Hair. I've been listening to Heart a lot
Really?
lately. Yeah.
It seems like good summer music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in America.
Fuck yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Ventura Highway. Sister
Yeah,
Golden
yeah.
Hair.
That song is also
Did they
on
do
here.
Tin Man? Is that them?
I
think
don't
that
know.
might
I'm
be.
not sure. It's really only those two
Those two
America songs that I've been
Well,
listening to.
Horse with no name.
Oh, actually, that's why that one keeps coming on. It has like this smart shuffle, and that song keeps coming on.
Yeah.
And I won't name drop, but that song reminds me of a certain band that that I had an odd experience with a while back. That was like a while ago.
So your summer playlist, is that like generated for you, or did you like pick those
No,
songs?
this is a playlist
Okay.
that I made. There's even an Olivia Rodrigo song on here, which is a little embarrassing, but you know,
I mean,
I'm like the same age as her, and I kind of relate to some of what she writes.
that's so funny. I have this unpopular opinion that art is like, it's not subjective, like it's objective.
Oh yeah.
Um
I go into that.
yeah. Like and the best way I can really explain this, right, is like Justin Bieber is objectively not as good as of an artist as Mozart.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can establish that as a baseline, what that means is all of it is on a scale. And like, you know what I mean? Because if that's objectively true, that means that there is now a scale.
I don't think that everybody would say that that's objectively true, which is sad.
They definitely wouldn't.
Well, because there's an objection to the perception. You know what I'm saying? Like if you perceive, right? I mean, because it's like if you perceive Mozart as being artistically better than that, I mean, right? Because I feel like someone that doesn't think that. I mean, there are people that probably don't think that.
Well, yeah, that's where I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember when I was really little, a bunch of my friends were obsessed with Justin Bieber. I never was, thankfully. But I doubt any of them liked Mozart.
Yeah, and I think that's where like the objectivity comes into it. Is it really wouldn't matter. Like popularity would not be a metric to measure it on. I couldn't really tell you. I'm completely talking on my ass right now, because I can't give you the metrics to measure it on. But like, I think it would, if I had to guess, it'd be something like skill would be a factor.
Yeah.
Like complexity. But again, like I'm a really big, like I love jazz and I love math rock. So I guess I'm being kind of biased by making like accessibility and skill like measurements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I feel in my heart that like some things are like some art is better than other art. And that doesn't mean that I have good taste. Like I have objectively bad taste in music sometimes. That doesn't mean like my opinion's better than everyone else's, but I think that there is an opinion that is better than other opinions, I guess. But it's also an opinion, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
I feel like it might contradict though with the opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little lost.
I don't know what I'm talking.
I'm
lost too.
falling down the rabbit hole.
We made it
already.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay, well, I also think like morality is objective. Like you guys know the trolley problem? Like
I've definitely heard that term before, but
one person tied to the tracks, 5 people tied to the tracks.
Yeah, there's like 5 people tied to a railroad track.
Oh, is it like 5 people and then one person that you know or something like that?
Well, there's like levels to the trolley problem.
You have control of which it has to hit one. That's the thing, is you can't stop.
Yeah. So like the very basic trolley problem is there's 5 people on a track, and you can flip a switch and it won't hit them, but it will go hit like this other person. And so like if you're to do that like purely logical, it's like, well, yeah, 5 people are more important than one person, but the caveat to that is like you have to take an action that will result in a death.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I bring that up because I think there is an incorrect and a correct answer to this. I don't really think it's like, regardless of how like I feel about it, I think there's a wrong and a right answer. And I think that's true of all moral questions.
Like there's one thing that's true.
Yeah. And usually when people make that kind of argument, it's like a religious one, like good and bad exist outside of perception, like they're real things. I'm not taking it at quite that far to like make a religious argument about it, but I do think that there is good and bad. And I think when we are aware of good and bad, it's almost like a sense. It's not an opinion. It's more just like a sixth sense. Like you have a sense of good and bad. Like, I don't know.
Well, I feel like everybody has a, like, I don't know how to say this, like an inward idea of what's right and what's wrong. Even people that don't believe in objective truth, I guess, we still all are like, don't murder somebody. Don't like that. Everybody has a like built-in morality, I guess. I think.
I like to think so too. There's like some like aspects of history that might like make that look like it's not the case, but I also like I have faith in like the in humanity, I guess. Yeah. I'm just talking out of my ass. I have no idea what I'm talking about. What do you think happens after we die? And like nobody knows. Like the answer is always like, I don't know. But like, does anything make more sense than anything else?
I have some like bro science on it.
Okay.
That's my
yeah. Bro science. Let's go.
Science. I've thought reincarnation is kind of inevitable, right? If the universe is infinite, and if you're like an algorithm, or not, or I guess not an algorithm, an equation of atoms or molecules, it probably is going to repeat at some point, right? And every one of them would most likely repeat if it's infinity. But so there's my after death thing for you. Is I think it's fully inevitable to not reincarnate.
Oh, okay. So I think I follow. You're like with enough time, this exact same thing will happen again. Is that
your exact same composition is going to repeat at some point
wow.
in the universe?
So reincarnated as yourself in the future?
Well, sort of, I guess maybe, or
that's interesting.
You know, like not in like a spirit sense, but in a like a molecular, I guess, sense. I mean, I don't fucking know, but
do you believe in souls?
Some days, yeah. Some days, no.
So, like, going along with that idea, it would be just like your DNA, but not your soul.
I guess so. If you believe in,
Oh, I see, like a copy of you, but it's not
like a
you.
clone.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. I've never heard that.
I don't
That's
think I've
fascinating.
heard that before either.
But one other thing in there is because it is infinity, it could also, I think, never repeat, right? I don't really know how infinity works, but
I
don't know if there's one that's more likely than the other.
Infinity is tricky because it's infinite, but it doesn't I don't think it necessarily means it's all encompassing, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, well, that's a great answer.
I mean, I feel like if something's infinite, then everything includes things repeating.
But it could go forever without repeating, right?
But then it wouldn't actually be infinity, would it?
So that's a good question. That's a really good question because like there's an infinity between 1 and 2, but there's also like there's infinities inside of infinities, right?
That's
spooky stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a mind fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think happens after we die, Elle?
I for my whole life have believed in heaven and hell. And I grew up Presbyterian.
Okay.
At this particular point in my life, I am definitely figuring out what I believe for myself. I do believe in God though, and I don't think that's going to change because of experiences that I've had. But this is a way more boring answer.
No. I have a lot. I have more questions, but
Yeah.
what do you still believe in heaven in a way, like heaven and hell?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
What do you, when you picture that, like, what is that like? Like, what do you think heaven is like?
I think heaven is the most beautiful place that you can imagine. And like the Bible talks about new heavens and a new earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like I feel most spiritual when I'm out in nature.
Okay.
So I like a beautiful like you're standing on top of a mountain looking down into a valley kind of.
Really?
I think
It's always, for me, it's always been like at a desk in an office.
That's when I'm most with the spirit. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like or like looking up at the stars and like just that feeling of awe. I think that's what heaven is like.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. This would probably be a good time to mention that I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness,
Okay.
and come from like a strict religious household, so
Okay.
I totally can relate to that.
Yeah.
I grew up having really strong ideas about the universe.
Yeah.
And as like when I turned 18, so I was also homeschooled.
Me too.
Really?
Yep.
So when
Not.
I was cool. Well, did you grow up with religion? I think you said there was like Christian music.
Yeah, my mom used to take me to church until I was probably like 7. And then it just, I'm not sure, I honestly haven't really talked to her about it, but it kind of just fell off. Like it wasn't really, but we were like a prayer at night before dinner kind of family if we were all there, if we happened to be.
Mm-hmm.
But like a quick 5-second, like, and then let's eat type
Oh,
of family.
my grandfather has the funniest prayer before you eat. He says, "God's great. Let's eat."
That's a good prayer. That's what else do you need?
Yeah, I mean.
How's growing up Jehovah's Witness, man?
It's a big question.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a life question.
Yeah, so I've been very lucky that like my family's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a good relationship with my family still, which is like pretty unheard of if you leave. But like I have an awesome relationship with my family because they're like real Christians. Like they're like, and when I say that, I mean like they have like strong values,
Yeah.
So they weren't gonna like disown their son for leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it is like actively breaking the rules to talk to me.
Oh, really? Is that strict?
Wow.
To be honest,
You're not
I don't know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses.
You're not even
very
supposed.
little,
You're not supposed to get food with them.
Oh wow.
Like it says you're not like supposed to break bread with that person. And I know a lot of kids that like were in the situation that I was, like if they picked up and tried to call their parents, they wouldn't answer.
That's insane.
It's a cult. Yeah.
When did
I
you
know.
leave or tell
Can
them?
we actually
Say what?
When did you leave or tell them that you were?
So when I was a homeschooled Jehovah's Witness, so I was like super cool. And I moved out at 18 with a friend who was also a Jehovah's Witness. And
did you move out still as a Jehovah's Witness? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I knew I was getting out of it,
Okay.
but I was like, here's an easy way for me to get out of this.
Oh,
yeah. So I moved to another town and immediately stopped going. and they found out like months later that I'd stopped going.
Oh, okay.
I moved out when I was 18, and I literally knew nobody. And I moved up here and went to like, I was 18, so I couldn't get into a lot of places, but I went to East Room and some other places and like fell into the local music scene here, and like I wouldn't be here without live music. So
Yeah.
like what y'all do is really important, and you don't know like what kind of impact you're having on people when you play a show, you know?
That's so cool.
Well, dude, I appreciate you saying that. And I mean, I don't know. That's personally why I feel like I still do it. It's because of those moments in my life where I was like, thank God that was fucking there, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, music
but
has gotten me through
it doesn't mean
a
lot, man.
lot.
Yeah. Well, not all artists are, I would say most artists are not aware of like of that. Like that it's like important and like they have a huge impact on people. So
I mean, I've definitely like for myself, especially songwriting has gotten me through so much. But knowing that it can also affect other people like that is really cool.
Yeah.
And it is really cool to hear someone say that, because like I've known that in the back of my head that's like, oh, this could one day maybe like really help somebody, but to actually hear somebody say that is so cool.
Yeah, I mean it's like everything's like a ripple effect, you know, like even like just small things, like small acts of kindness to people can like have this effect that goes on for like forever. Yeah,
well, because one person can do something nice and then that puts the next person in a good mood, and then they're nice to somebody, and then
that's literally how you save the world, is just be nice to people in your immediate surroundings, you know. Like I get like really overwhelmed because I've been doing good lately, but like I listen to a lot of like current event podcasts and like stay plugged in, and it causes me a lot of anxiety.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't watch the news because I get too stressed.
There's a part of me that's like, it's my obligation as a human being to like keep up with what's going on in the world. And then there's another part of me that's like, this is wearing on my mental health.
Yeah.
And I've never been like a suicidal person, but like I mean, I've had moments, but like I've had moments of like not like depression, but like severe frustration where I've thought about doing things that would not be good, you know? And I have I'm trying to, I'm just now like, I'm 28 and I'm just now figuring out what I am and am not capable of like fixing, and you know, like what my limitations are, you know what I mean? But like in a small way, like not in like a delusions of grandeur way, but like in a small way, I think these kind of conversations are helpful, you know. Just because not a lot of people talk about hard issues, like not even hard issues, but like the universe and stuff. Like,
not everyone I love talking about stuff like this.
Like there's a lot of people just don't have the privilege to, because they're working all the time and they're tired, and it's like we're all extremely fortunate to be able to sit around and talk about what happens after we die. And you know, I guess I'm just acutely aware that there's like immense suffering in the world, even if it doesn't affect me. The fact that I'm aware of it is really hard. But
I agree.
But
I mean, used to not so much anymore. I mean, now I'm thinking about it again, but I used to I sometimes care too much. Maybe I have a lot of empathy, and I used to cry all the time about how many people in the world are suffering. And it is like, when you think about that, it is really I don't know what the word is, but like I complain so much about what's happened to me, and I've had some really awful things happen to me, but then I don't know, then some things will happen and it's like, oh, these things that have happened to me are really awful, but that's like really, really awful.
It can always
I
be
don't know.
worse. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare different suffering because it's all, I don't know. The world is just really, it can be a really hard, life can be really hard.
It can. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and again, like what y'all do is saving the world in a small way. So just keep doing what you're doing. Keep making music.
I like that. One of my biggest goals in my life is to help other people.
Yeah.
So if I hope that the music that I make does that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you never know like what kind of impact that's gonna have. Where does art, I guess, one way I could say this is like, what's your writing process like? But to get more philosophical about it, like, where does art come from? Because like, I'm not a musician, but I write poetry and I'm working on a fantasy novel right now. And like,
Nice.
thanks. It's but like, I can't sit down and like make things happen. It's usually I'm like driving or doing something else, and like I just like grab this thing and like pull it down. And
Yeah.
that gives me a lot of questions about what is that? Like, did I come up with that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, that's a really hard question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just here. I'll say my process to a degree.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's just straight repetition and getting any idea out, and then as soon as you can latch on to something you think has any type of gravity to or weight to it, leaping off of that and going into different avenues. But I mean, where does it come from? Like, there, I'm thinking that, okay, so I'm gonna say the name incorrectly. It's either Lawrence Ferlinghetti or Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I don't remember how to say the last name, but he's like a beat guy. He's Open City Lights in San Francisco's bookstore, and there's a book of poems I bought when I was in North Carolina called "Pictures of a Gone World," and in one of the poems, like it's him when he's younger and he's like in France and he's in bed with this woman, and they're talking and it's very sexual, and but she says in the poem, I feel as though, like, I'm gonna misquote it, but along the lines of, I feel as though there's an angel in me that I'm constantly shocking. And I think just like a lot of just all experiences in life seem to be tainting or shocking or rejuvenating, whichever, any emotion that could be, this kind of soul that you have in you. And I think that's where all of that comes from. Just experience, life experiences, to boil all of that down.
But, well said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It. Yeah. The that kind of makes the most sense. Like, an alternative would be like something external, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That you're like grabbing from.
Well, I feel like sometimes everything that I write is from my emotions, which I feel like I could argue that a lot of times my emotions feel not outside of myself, but like almost a separate thing from my logical self, I guess. Like I've always been a very emotional person, and sometimes when I get super emotional, I don't feel like myself anymore because it's just the emotion that takes over. Um, and a lot of the time when I like some of my favorite things that I've ever written have come from that place of, I guess, grabbing from the emotion directly. But then there's also the flip side of, there have been points in my life where I wanted to, specifically when I was in school, where I had to write a song every week. And obviously I was still pulling from emotions, but I feel like there's that side of it, and then there's the side of repetition. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah,
too.
just getting the busting it out.
Yeah. And I think people always talk about with songwriting how you're gonna write so many songs and most of them are gonna be terrible. And then there will be the few that are really great. And I feel like most of the time for me, the ones that feel really great are the ones that I just like pulled out of the air, like you were saying earlier. And I think that's for me, from emotion directly.
Yeah. I think my best writing is also like, I'm like in a good place in my life and I haven't been writing as much, and that's fucked up. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I do get that though.
No, I get that too. Because it's like if you are in a really good place, then what are you going to write about?
Yeah.
Because it's like what I want to capture when I write a song is the feeling that I'm having. And like, I guess you could do that with joy too. But I don't know. It's more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you could view it like a two-way relationship though. Like if you, or I guess just a relationship then. But, you know, like if you've used an art form as a crutch for a really long time and it's helped you and you're now in a different place, like, I don't know, just kind of revisiting it, even though you don't necessarily need to do it as much anymore, just kind of like still making yourself do it. I feel like it's kind of cool. A new approach.
Well, that's the flip side of it, that I was talking about, where you're writing from like, I need to write something. Like not making yourself write, but kind of making yourself write, as opposed to it just appearing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it can be done. It's just hard.
I feel like I want to get to a place with songwriting where I can write about happier things.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed with the set that we played at the farm was all of the songs that were ours had a darker, I guess. I think tragic was, we made a list a long time ago of a bunch of words that describe our music. But like all of our songs had that, and then all of the covers that we did were just like similar vibe instrumentally, but themes were totally different.
Similar kind of music,
but
with drastically different, like
drastically
intention.
different emotion.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that's actually okay. So you can write dark music from a good place, then, is what that means.
I think ours is kind of motivational. Well, it's not like motivational. It's not workout music, but like, I don't know. I feel like the darker ones that we have they don't end with like.
Yeah, I think they do tend to end with hope, because I don't want to.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. Oh no, what am I saying? I like ending with hope.
Okay.
Because that's how I want to live my life. Yeah.
It's kind of that's, I think, really helpful actually, because it's like by writing a dark song that ends on hope, it's kind of like I understand and see what you're going through, but just know that it gets better. kind of like,
yeah.
like,
Well, that actually, going back to Christian music, that's because that's one of the things that really annoyed me about Christian radio, is that it never felt real. It never felt like, and there were exceptions for sure, but the vast majority of like, what is it? The abbreviation, like CCM maybe. I don't remember the
It was
abbreviation, but
in California, Colorado. I think it was Kayla, or maybe that was
oh
just
well,
Colorado.
that's the one of the radio
That's the-
stations.
yeah.
That was actually one of the better ones. But like here, like Way FM and the Fish.
oh yeah, the fish, yeah, yeah.
But what
I'm
annoyed
getting
me
Vietnam
about that,
flashbacks right now.
what annoyed me about that, one, just how repetitive it all was. Like as I became a musician and was like, this is boring, which I understand why, because it's so that
It's accessible.
anybody can, yeah.
Yeah.
But what annoyed me more so was that it was only the happy stuff. Like it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain.
They're not talking about revelations or like,
Well,
it's like,
not even that, just like everybody goes through hard stuff. No matter what your background is, no matter
Yeah.
what you believe, even if you're a Christian, everybody goes through hard stuff. And it didn't feel like the stuff that would play on Christian radio was acknowledging that, I guess.
yeah, it's very surface level. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of did you sing in church?
I did, yeah. I was for a while I was the worship leader for my youth group. And I tried to bring in a lot of hymns. I still love hymns.
Yeah.
I think hymns go so much deeper into
It's like a vibration.
real
Yeah.
feelings and emotions that people have, while also I mean, even like think of Psalms. Those are hymns.
Yeah.
And yes, there are just like praise Psalms, but there's also ones where David is just like, why is this happening? Like,
Yeah.
I think
I think you guys are way more
Lamentation.
versed in the Bible.
What-
I am unfortunately way versed in it. Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily unfortunate.
So at this point in my life, I agree with you. Like,
Mhm.
I have a really healthy respect for scripture at this point in my life.
That's good.
Yeah. When I left, I was like really obnoxiously atheist.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in your face atheist. And then I had a phase of like, I dated this girl that was like dabbling in the occult, and like we actually bought this board. And
yeah, I noticed that.
I can move this if it makes anyone uncomfortable.
No,
Actually,
you're good. What is this, a cat?
Maybe yes.
maybe, yeah, no problem.
Oh,
No, I mean this actually is like pretty powerful shit.
Oh, I didn't even know it was. I'm sorry.
But
Sorry, we're
I was
just
just staring
going
at
down
it.
the Bible rabbit hole over here.
but basically I had I was like, I don't believe any of this shit because of how I was raised. And then I had a phase of like, well, let's fuck around and find out then. And if you go looking for spirit, you will find it. Like if you start that path and like really actually try to get into that, you will. Yeah. I've got a lot of crazy stories.
I do as well.
Well, that's a great segue. When I say ghost story, what I really mean is, have you ever experienced something that you can't explain away logically?
Yeah.
You go first.
Like just ghost story wise, like
Yeah,
just straight up, or like I'm trying to think.
Sure. Yeah, mine's gonna take a very different
Yeah, this can
turns.
be
Turn, but-
positive, negative, it could be ghosts. I actually don't discount psychedelics at all, because if you look at like shamanic practice, like spirit and psychoactive drugs have always run together. So, but yeah, I don't mean to put any like context on that.
Okay, an experience that I can't explain.
Yeah, put your own context on it.
I mean, I have like 2 traditional ghost stories, but I feel like
Well,
this is-
oh,
I feel like
you
this is
gotta tell
bigger
you
than-
gotta tell the one,
Oh, the one that's
the
on the
video,
video one. Okay,
Yeah.
so
and then go off into
well, all right. So
bigger
just
stuff if you have other stuff.
real quick, I film myself a lot when I'm playing guitar, and mainly to not forget what I'm doing if I'm like trying to write a song. And I was alone in my house.
This
like,
was
middle of
before
winter.
I
Was it?
I think it was
Yeah, 'cause you
before I
in
joined the band.
April, so it would have been probably like January or something.
Yeah.
No one is home, like no one is home. And I have all the windows closed, and I'm just singing this chorus over and over again that I've come up with to try to like get it to stick. And I'm just like taking videos of it and watching it and then taking videos of it. And I like step outside to smoke a cigarette at like 3 a.m. I'm just like hunched over watching my phone. And I hear a woman's voice singing the chorus with me at the very end of it. And
Like in the video.
yeah, and I was like, well, that's not fucking possible. So then I like hook it up to my stereo and I listen to it like really loudly, and it's like it's pretty fucking clear. And I like keep playing it, and then I start
very distinct.
and I start like going around the house and making sure like all the doors and windows and stuff were closed, and they were. And then I kind of just walk around my house. I'm like, is there someone outside of my house or something that was like watching me or something like that? And yeah, that's the closest I have to a ghost story. Is I still haven't been able to explain that.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, it's so it's
I'd
probably
love
pretty
to
deep
see
on
it
me.
Oh,
after.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
This is one of my favorite topics.
It's fucking creepy, man. It sounds like I don't know how would you like a
I mean, it kind of sounds like how I sometimes harmonize.
yeah. It's just it's a fucking weird one. I don't know. That's all I can say.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But that's the only
Yeah.
time it's ever my house feels normal. Always has felt normal. Senses felt not spooky or anything like
Yeah.
that. So I don't know what that was.
Okay.
Yeah, there's my ghost story.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I've been sitting here trying to figure out which one I should tell.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I have anything that's quite that
That's very traditional.
concrete.
Yeah,
Like
something wasn't there.
and I don't know that I necessarily believe in ghosts.
Yeah, that's
per
why I
se.
say it is like phenomena.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ghost
Um,
kind of puts a connotation on it that's like implying a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have had multiple experiences with what I believe to be demons, I guess.
That's crazy.
Sorry,
no,
no, it's
no.
scary. It's really freaking scary. See, I don't know if I can tell the main one. Well, okay. The first time that I ever experienced anything that I was like, oh, this doesn't make sense. I used to do scouting. I'm an Eagle Scout actually. But my troop met at my church. And there's a spot behind my church that's like it's right off of the Harpeth River, and there's like a little overlook and a little campfire place, and there's a cross over there. And I always loved that spot growing up. And this one night, there was this guy that I had a crush on. And I don't know if he was a Christian at the time, but I was trying to save him, I guess. And I felt like there was a lot of spiritual warfare stuff going on with that. And that ended up being a really toxic, not even, we were never together technically, but a really toxic friendship / relationship thing. But this one night we were, it was after Scouts, and we were talking in the parking lot, like getting ready to go home. And for whatever reason, I decided that I wanted to go back to that spot behind my church. And oh, I actually forgot about that part. Anyway, so I took off that way.
I'm gonna shut that door. Keep going.
Okay. I can't remember if he told me before or after. But he had had a dream. He had had a dream that the same thing had happened. Like, we had been hanging out after Scouts, and
They don't separate boys and girls?
yeah, we were in two different
Oh, okay.
troops. But we met at the
Oh,
same.
scandalous.
Yeah. we had separate troop meetings. Like,
Yeah.
But they just were at the same place and same time, because that was like the scouting. Like I was also in a venture crew that met at the same place, like right before. Anyway, so I think he told me about this dream after. Anyway, so I walk off towards this towards the like little campfire spot, and I remember I like stepped off the parking lot. It had one of those like curb things. I stepped like over the curb and onto the grass, and I remember immediately as I stepped onto the grass, this feeling of like dread almost washed over me. And I remember looking up at the sky, and the moon was really bright and coming through the trees and making like weird shadows on the ground. And I started walking really, really slowly for some reason. Like I was scared of something, but I like it was just trees and stuff. Like there was nothing obvious to be freaked out about, but I was. I ended up walking out onto the little overlook thing, and he had followed me, and we stood on the overlook for a couple minutes, and I'm getting more and more freaked out for whatever reason, and we basically just ran out of there because he
wasn't
felt freaked out
wasn't
too.
the demon? Oh, I thought the story was the demon.
No.
Okay.
No, he was just there. So then
I thought that's what that was.
I mean, I don't know if it was connected to him. It might have been, but so then so I was really confused because I had never had an unexplained feeling like that.
How old were you?
I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
I think. So afterwards, he tells me that he had had a dream that the exact same thing happened, where I had walked off to the spot behind the church, but in the dream, he hadn't followed me. And apparently there was some kind of, the best way I can describe it is like a KKK-esque meeting going on right there.
Wait, this is
in that
in the
spot
dream
that
or in the
yes,
real life?
this is in the dream. I don't know how else to explain it.
The story is getting wild.
This is in his dream.
This is in his dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I walked off towards this meeting, whatever thing, and in the dream, apparently he heard me like scream, and then I was gone. And so he told me that like he was planning on just leaving and going home, and then he was like, wait, this happened in my dream, and that's why he followed me.
In real life.
In real life.
Okay.
Sorry, this is so confusing.
Okay, so the dream happened first.
Yes.
Okay.
And you guys both had this dream. And then he told
No, I didn't have this dream.
Oh wait, what? I thought that was the whole point.
No, he had the dream.
Oh.
He had the dream, and then it
Okay.
happened
And then what
in
you're
real
describing
life.
actually happened.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
see.
I'm with
Yeah.
you. I'm with you.
So
The
that,
ultimate deja vu. Kind of.
yeah. I mean, yeah, basically like deja vu, but he was like, oh, I dreamed this.
Okay. And you, okay. And then you guys just went back to the camp, or?
Oh, this was at my church.
Okay. Okay. Right. This is behind the church. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
In like the spot that always felt the most safe to me.
Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
So I mean, at like 16 years old, I'm trying to process this, like, what the heck? I think I had brought it up to one of my friends' mothers, who she's wonderful. I love her so much. Her name is Miss Julie. And I think I brought it up to her and explained what happened, and she was like, there's like some kind of spiritual warfare stuff going on. And basically what I ended up, the conclusion that I ended up coming to is that I walked into some kind of demon meeting. Stop laughing. I don't know what I think about
Hell
it.
yeah.
I don't know what I think about it anymore, because I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know exactly what I believe when it comes to demons now. But for a long time, that was my conclusion, that I stumbled into something. And honestly, to this day, I don't like to be behind that church in the dark. It still freaks me out.
I've had interactions with demons as well, and
I have more concrete interactions with demons too, if we want to keep
if you
going
want
on
to,
this topic.
that's up to you. If you want to, or we can move on. That's up to you.
I didn't mean to laugh at you. Sorry. It was
No,
just,
it's okay.
it was just the term demon meeting that made
Yeah.
me laugh. That was
It sounds kind of cool.
yeah.
When you say it like that.
Like a demon lobby or a waiting room or something.
Yeah. It sounds lit.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh at that. I was just
No, it's okay.
The phrase took me out.
Yeah.
For a second.
See, like this is the like. Well, no, I can't say that.
We're all mad here. This is
Yeah.
This is the place to talk about those kind of things.
Yeah.
Kind of fascinating. Demons seem to only show up around religious people.
Yeah, that's also one thing that, like, very lately, like in the past month, that I've been thinking about a lot. And especially in my life, demons seem to come up when someone wants something from me. I think now, I don't know, I think sometimes things that happen could genuinely be explained by a demon or something else spiritual.
Wait, so what is your hold on? What's like your definition of a demon? Like,
good question.
Fallen angel.
Okay,
Like a biblical demon, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, like a physical, like it's not like a, like I feel like like a drug addiction could be. Someone's claims that's like
it's not a
demon.
metaphorical.
Yeah, like it's, you're talking like straight physical.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, we can't see them because we're not in the spiritual realm, I guess. But I guess to explain that, like, we're in the physical world. There's also a spiritual world that had, like, it is the same world that we're in.
It's another
but
plane on top of it.
Yeah, like a different.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like, we're in the 2D and they're in the 3D,
Yeah.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Like if
Like a plane on top of another plane.
Yeah, wait, but we're in the third dimension, right?
well that example,
Okay.
like
Oh,
they're probably in like the fourth or fifth.
Okay.
So
sixth
yeah,
or
for like
whatever.
Yeah,
The
so
fourth,
for
no,
other-
we're in the fourth. Fuck, I don't fucking know. Anyways,
I think we
I see what you're
see-
saying. Though.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on.
Why was I explaining that though? I forget what.
You were talking about
I just wanted your
definitions.
definition. Yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Party
You know,
all together.
I've had a lot of crazy experiences with what I would consider the spirit world. What I've never seen or experienced is like your traditional like poltergeist activity.
Go like straight up,
Like-
3 claw marks.
Yeah, this like levitating.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And I've come to the conclusion, and I would love to be proven wrong about this. I would
Mhm.
love for someone to show me something that is in defiance of the claim I'm making. But I don't think these things can interact physically. I think they have to have like avatars. My experiences have
Yeah.
been like channeling.
Yeah, I also have,
Mhm.
which I'm not sure that I can go into that story right now because that's
Yeah.
still really.
But like with channeling, kind of.
What is
Yeah.
channel? Damn, you guys are-
Explain what you mean by that, because
I've had
I think I
things-
know what you're talking about.
I've had things enter my body, no pun intended. Like use me as a vessel.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
Yeah.
talked to a person that I was very close to that it was not him that I was talking to.
Yeah. What's fascinating about that too is because it doesn't break physics at all. It can be explained rationally, like
someone who's
psychological disorders, right?
being like bipolar.
Yeah, it can be explained that way. Not that that's an adequate explanation, but that's what I find so interesting about like I've studied particularly chaos magic quite a bit,
Mhm.
and a big part of that is basically throwing out theory. Like we're not worried about how this works. We're more worried about like results, like what can you do? And
Mhm.
the question of whether it's internal or external is sort of irrelevant to me if they can't break physics, if they can't interact with the physical world. Now that's a different ballgame if that's the case. I'm glad to have people to talk about this kind of stuff with because it's something like I opened like through psychedelics, through like spirit work, I've like opened a door that now like if I like take edibles or like take psychedelics, it's like I can't turn off, like I'm aware of this world.
Mhm.
And
See, I feel like I've been aware of it for so long, and I've never
never known anything
taken.
different.
Yeah. Like I have never done psychedelics. I've never.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. The way people describe psychedelics to me is like I've just experienced that.
Mhm. Yeah. I think like I realized later on in life that I had always been connected to like the Holy Spirit, for example,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that until I experienced other spirits.
Okay,
Like I
interesting.
didn't, oh, that's what that feeling is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Alice, check out Mercy Hanson,
Yeah.
August 3rd. Y'all have been great. This has
Thanks
been a
for
lot of
having
fun.
us.
Love to have you back sometime.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.